From WBBZ-TV Sports, it's time to beat the champ. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Peck and Sue Novoitsky.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to Jamestown. Week number 4 for Beat the Champ for the entire crew and the gang. We've had a great stay down here, and it's going to end on a high note because, as we always do on this show, so we're going to have a little fun with our 4th show, and today it's a doubles championship. We've got a lot of familiar names from the last 3 weeks. We've got some other familiar names that you've seen on the show before. So bowling doubles is an interesting dynamic, isn't it?
I know, because of the Baker format. So if one person's on and the other person isn't, is it really going to help? They both have to be on at the same time. So that's what makes doubles Baker style so fun and, important.
We've got 4 teams seeded 1 through 4. We'll get 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, and then we'll bowl off for a championship. We're going to cram lots of names and stuff there on the Castellone scoreboard.
Yeah, and we might have team names. I'm not too sure about that yet, what these guys are going to come up with. But like you said, it's always fun. It's always exciting for this 4th show.
Right. Plus, we have bonus attire to show you as well, too. Bowlers have put time and thought into their outfits. That doesn't normally happen. It did today, and that's where we're going to get things started. It's our Jamestown Bowling Company Doubles Championship. Well, let's get rolling. So our first match is going to be Team Miller, Brandon and Brett versus Tim Franz and Justin Schwab. Sort of Miller time versus the Pants Pals to get things going here. So Brandon and Brett, father and son. Great way to get things started here on our Jamestown Bowling Company Doubles Championship. And we will start it off with Brandon Miller. The Millers are the #1 seed coming into this tournament. Not the first time we've seen them on our show. Brandon's won a couple of shows, won a couple of matches on our show, famously defeating his son, Brent, a year ago here in Jamestown. Oh no, correction. Brent beat father, son beat father. So that's what happened a year ago here in Jamestown. It was Brett defeating Brandon.
Well, if nothing else, these guys look good. They took time to...
They may be the first bowlers to ever have had the conversation before the day started of, what are you wearing?
That were of the male persuasion anyways.
I'm not going to make any comment on bowlers' fashion choices. Now, if you've been watching our show, and if you watched it last week, you know Tim has become famous for the pants, the crazily colored patterned pants. That's his trademark. He had the yellow and green ones on last week's show. So of course, any bowling team that he would be a part of would have to uphold the tradition.
Well, a little bird told me that it would be 16 shows until Tim had to repeat a pair of pants.
That's good to know.
So
that's good to know for us. It's maybe a little disturbing to know exactly what Tim's closet now looks like.
Well, he can always buy another pair, so I guess for now it's 16.
Right. So Baker format means we alternate bowlers in every other frame. So you saw Tim, and now you're seeing Justin Schwab bowling here in the second frame. And then we'll see Brett Miller bowling for his team.
Well,
I'm sorry, Brent. I keep calling him Brett. It's Brent.
At least we don't have to explain who's on whose team.
Yes. Thankfully, the uniform choices helped us with that. So here's Brent Miller, 21 years old, from right here in Jamestown. His dad spared the first frame. Or I'm sorry, his dad went open in the...
No, his dad spared.
No, his dad spared the first
spare.
frame. You're right. I'm all confused. The
That's all right,
pants are completely throwing me off right now.
Well, then we've got 4 people up there instead of 2.
That's true. Yeah, it's a little hectic here. So we've had a hectic month here in Jamestown. We're ending it with a doubly hectic show. So now back to Brandon Miller. Dad gets the chance here.
Oh, what a nice shot that was.
Helps make it back-to-back strikes for the Miller Time squad.
Putting some early pressure on Tim and Schwabe.
Yes. Tim Friends, 30 years old from Williamsville. He is a full-time photographer and a pretty good bowler, and he's the guy who won our last match last week, so he'll be the first bowler up on next week's show at the Tonawanda Bowling Center against a whole new group of 9 competitors.
Right.
And this is the first opportunity, not only were those Tim's first wins on our show, but now his first opportunity to advance to a new bowling center where he knows he may have to have 3 different pant choices ready for 3 weeks of shows.
That's true.
Justin Schwab with the strike.
Nice shot there.
In the 4th frame. So now back to Brent Miller. Couple of wins on our Beat the Champ show as part of the regular competition for Brent Miller as well, too. And as I mentioned, he defeated his dad a year ago here at Jamestown.
Nice shot.
That's 3 in a row for the Millers.
This feels like a good time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more action on Beat the Champ.
Instant replay on Beat the Champ is brought to you by Transit Lanes and Keglers. Join us for bowling, food, and drinks.
Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
Not sure what pants he was. Was it a tuxedo wedding or was it just they got to pick tuxedos, or did you wear those pants to the wedding, Justin?
Notice how audibly louder that comment was. Like I heard the initial one, and all of a sudden right here, tuxedos?
I'm not trying to distract you there, Tim. I got to get this information out. Western New York demands to know these things.
The Millers are going to want their money back.
All right, so a spare pickup opportunity here for Justin. Remember, we're alternating shots here, doubles competition. Winner of this match will advance to the championship match. We've got 4 other bowlers ready for match number 2, which is coming up.
Well, no, if Tim and Justin don't pull this one out, I'm not going to be able to get my revenge on Justin by having him have to say something nice about me as opposed to just being late.
That's true. That was a rather below-the-belt comment made by him a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? And Brandon Miller with a nice strike. These guys are bowling very well.
What's amazing is off his hand, it looks to me like he's missed his target left. And then it's going to go high, but it's really not. It's the way he's lined up. He's really lined up. Kind of similar to what we saw at a Chucky, where it was very right to left and down and in. Wow.
That's 2 in a row for the Miller team.
These 2 are tough, and let me tell you, there's some strategy here because they throw the ball different, both these guys, and both these lanes are different. So there was some strategy to putting the right person on the right lane.
Interesting. So there was some thought that went into this, huh?
If you're really trying to figure it out and be competitive, then there should have been, yes.
You saw what the qualifying score was for the Friends and Schwab team. They are our number 4 qualifiers. And Tim Friends with a strike here in the 7th frame.
Pretty much they're going to have to strike out now. They're 30 pins behind with, well, half the game.
There's Janelle Saban in the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard, keeping you up to date. 33-year-old Justin Schwab from Clarence.
Nice shot.
Strike, big one.
Nice shot.
He's a regular bowler at Transit Lanes. We saw him on the show a couple weeks ago when we were, about a month or so ago,
right.
when we spent our month-long stay in Williamsville at Transit Lanes. All right, so now back to the Millers.
Brent has yet to not strike. He has struck on every one of his shots.
See what you did? You brought it up, and look what happens.
Yep, that's a broadcaster's nightmare.
Yes, it is. It is.
You can't make a statement about anything.
No. So what we've learned here through 4 weeks of competition at Jamestown is exactly what Sue referred to. These 2 lanes have reacted very differently as the matches have gone on. 17 has been much more of a challenge for the bowlers than 18 has. And I think the one thing that we also kind of learned was there was very little consistency. We there were some matches where guys were missing everything, then there were matches where guys were making everything, and Chuck Jagosinski had a nice 3-match in a row run where he averaged almost 260, and then he stumbled a little bit. So no one's been able to really get a whole big, consistent roll going.
I did allude to a little bit of fatigue, and I totally believe that, under the lights, because there's a lot of adrenaline, and yet there's a lot of mental going on here because you got to focus on each lane and the nuances of each lane, that it is very exhausting.
All right, so a spare in the 9th frame for the Miller team.
Big shot here for Timmy.
Yep, Tim and Justin will have to try to finish strong. There's your updated scoreboard.
Needs this strike right here to get just about tied. Still gonna be down a pin or 2, but he needs this one.
And there you go. There's a big one. That's 3 in a row for the Friends and Schwab team. So can Justin keep it going and finish strong here in the 10th frame? Just couldn't get that flying pin to nick the 10.
Threw it great.
Yeah, big, strong, almost 18-mile-an-hour roll down the lane for Justin Schwab. So he'll ponder this one. Big spare.
Big spare, needs all the pins. Pin count, though, has switched over to the Millers now. They've got a 2-pin advantage.
Oh, and he missed it. Tough break for Justin. So it's a 213 score on the board for the Friends and Schwab team, and now the Millers with a chance to close this out. And it'll be Brent Miller.
He needs 9 pins on his first ball. That's all he needs.
And he'll get 10.
That's it.
And that's a win. Brandon and Brent Miller, our #1 seeds here in the Jamestown Bowling Company Doubles Championship, have won. They will advance on. Who they're going to face in our championship match? We'll find out when we come back. More to come from the Jamestown Bowling Company right after this. Well, it was form over fashion as the Millers defeat Tim and Justin 236 to 213. Bowling doubles is an interesting challenge, isn't it, Tim? How do you get used to the back and the forth of it all?
You work off each other. When one of us started to pick up some strikes, you kind of take that little extra into your shot and try and just keep the string open. But usually opens aren't good ways to end cap games, so it didn't work out too good in the end.
Yeah. How much do you like bowling with him, Justin?
It's terrible. Nah, he's
kind of set you up for that one, didn't I?
He's my best friend, so it's good. It's fun.
Right. Well, good. You guys look good. You bowled pretty well too. It was fun to watch what you guys were able to do. Jim? Give them some money so they can buy some more pants.
Yeah, the entries for the doubles was, what I expected. So, I did kick in a little extra money to make the prize thing decent. So hopefully you guys be happy with that.
No,
okay?
Appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Problem.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Well, Tim, we're not done with Tim yet because we're going to see him on next week's show because he's our bowler that advances to Tonawanda. Can't wait to see the outfit you got ready for us next week, but we'll keep everybody in suspense for that one, all right?
I got some stuff lined up.
Don't reveal any of it till the taping
I don't have
date.
to repeat yet.
All right, sounds good. We got another match coming in our Jamestown Bowling Company Doubles Championships. It is next. All right, match number 2. It's the team of Joe Rubricht and Jerry Lewandowski on the right versus Ryan Beaver and Ray Texter on the left. And the winner of this match, probably they're already trash talking already here. The winner of this match
makes this fun.
will take on the Millers for our Jamestown Bowling Company Doubles Championship. Yes, that is what makes it fun. You're right. Well, trash talk never hurt anybody, right? Particularly in the sport of bowling. So Ryan Beaver from right here in Jamestown, 44 years old, will get things started for his team. Remember, Baker format doubles, so it's rotating frames. And here we go, match number 2. And there go the pins. Strike for Ryan Beaver.
That was powerful.
Yeah, he throws a good shot.
Jimmy is here. He is the owner of the Jamestown Bowling Company, joining us here for our second match. You got a bunch of your guys here, so we figured we'd get a little of the inside knowledge out of you, Jim, to find out what we're looking at and who we're looking at to see. So Jim's going to join us for this match. Here is Jerry Lewandowski matching Beaver with the strike. This is a fun idea. What made you decide on this for our 4th show?
Well, I knew that that it had been done before, and I've heard people liked it, and I went with over the years I went with the juniors, seniors, maybe juniors twice, seniors once, just to shake it up a little bit. And I thought we'd just use the scores that they bowled at singles. Unfortunately, it didn't create a lot of cash flow doing it that way because there was only $10 a person, and we only had 15 entries. So, but we made it the prize list. We found a way to bump it up a little bit. So. But no, it's just something different,
Yeah, no, we love having some different stuff here, especially on our 4th show. This is Joe Rubricht, Jerry Lewandowski's teammate. Joe and Jerry we saw a couple of weeks ago on show number 1 of our first 4 shows here in Jamestown, and they didn't bowl against each other. They almost did. It was Jerry in the first show losing, and then Joe in the second show. But Joe is a regular down here in Jamestown from the area. A difficult spare to try to pick up here.
Ooh, almost.
Won't happen. We also saw Ray Texter on our show a couple of weeks ago. Did a nice job, defeated Chuck Jagosinski to end Chuck's nice little run, and then wound up being defeated after that by Tim Friends. So tell us a little bit about Ray. You know him well. He's a regular here.
Yeah, and I've been bowling with Ray and against Ray for a lot of years. He travels quite a bit now. I don't do it as much anymore, but so I just mostly bowl against him in league, and we practice together once in a while. But yeah, he's a good guy. Wow.
Little breeze, partner.
Yeah, he rarely misses a spare. So I just think he got real soft on that one, and it kind of shocked him.
Just a whisper of a knockdown on the spare.
I was mentioning earlier that I felt that the fatigue could get to be a factor with the lanes being different. Mentally, it's trying just to remember what lane you're on, what ball you're using on that lane, what's happened the last time you were up there. And I just think that we've seen some runs, but they come to an end because, I think that fatigue has to set in when you're being tested on a regular basis.
Well, yeah, and no doubt. And, it's hard to win a lot of single matches in a row. It's just, it's mentally and physically trying.
Yeah.
Another nice strike we saw there from Ryan Beaver. How did Ryan not make our regular show, being a regular here at Jamestown? He's bowling great so far.
Yeah, he was actually the alternate.
So he almost made it then.
So he was 10th. So if somebody wouldn't showed for doubles, but if somebody wouldn't have showed for singles, he would have been the next guy in.
Mm-hmm.
So the Ryan and Raymond team versus the Joe and Jerry team. That's where you saw it on the Castellone scoreboard. So now here's Jerry Lewandowski. And he'll grab the spare in the third frame. What goes into, you know, you said you've bowled a lot of doubles in your life.
Mm-hmm.
What goes into deciding on the teams? How is it, you know your fellow bowlers so well, do you try to match up what one team does well, or do you try to opposite with what each bowler does well?
It's funny that you say that, because Michelle Sterner was has been my doubles partner for years, and Jack Jurek would always tell me that we're really never going to win anything because we don't match up, because our games don't match up. And not that we're not going to bowl okay and, you know, make some top fives or whatever, but you do want to match up fairly well with your games. You don't want to have like totally opposite games. Like for Michelle and I set the ball kind of short. I have slower ball speed. When you set the ball short, your ball reads earlier. She has just the opposite. She's got a little bit more spin, and her ball shoots down the lane. So we can't line up off each other for anything because our balls read the lanes totally different. So I understood where Jack was coming from, but her and I have done very well, and we've won quite a few titles just by playing our own game, but we really can't much line up off one another because our games are so different. So you kind of, probably for continued success, you'd probably want someone that throws it kind of similar to you or have similar games, right?
Yeah, and plays in the same part of the lane.
Right. This looks like a good time to take a break. We'll be back with more Beat the Champ right after this. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
I'll tell you what, there's a whole bunch of bowlers that were glad that Ryan Beaver wasn't good enough to make our competition the last 3 weeks and was the alternate, because the way he's bowling here so far, he would have won himself a lot of matches.
No, he's fresh too, don't forget. These guys
true.
have all been here all day bowling.
Almost everybody except for the Millers has been on our show. Jerry Lewandowski was on our very first show. Joe Rubricht was on our first show, wound up winning 2 matches in a row before losing to Chuck Jagodzinski on show number 2. And of course, we told Joe's story from Buffalo originally, but moved down here to Jamestown for work reasons and has made this his home now. And when he finds time to bowl, he will usually be bowling here at the Jamestown Bowling Company, but has not been in a regular league. It says an awful lot about his bowling ability that he's not in a regular league and bowling as well as he is.
What do you think? Is he joining a doubles league next season?
Could be. He's interested. I think initially why he didn't bowl in a league because when he started at Cummins, he was on like second shift because he was new.
That's what he told us.
He was new, so now I think he's on days now though.
That ends a run of 4 consecutive strikes for the Joe and Jerry team. So Joe will have to grab the spare here in the 8th frame. The Millers are waiting for the winner of this match to claim a Jamestown Bowling Company doubles championship. By the way, it has been another terrific trip down here to the Jamestown Bowling Company. We enjoy it, our annual trip down here. Most of the gang here on the crew had a chance to stay over on the lake at Webb's Resort and Inn and Hotel, which was terrific, and a great spot right there on Chautauqua Lake, and then made the drive in here to Jamestown, right downtown, right past the National Comedy Center and all the good stuff that's going on here in Jamestown. So again, this time of the year, you don't have any weather to worry about, just a good kind of weather. It's a neat little hour-and-a-half drive if you're in the city of Buffalo and you want to get away. Come on down here, go to the Comedy Center, drive over to the lake, have yourself a nice lunch, or take a little ride out on the lake, whatever it is. Jim, you tell me, you live down here. There's a lot of good stuff going on.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of new stuff too. The last, say, 5 years. So it's been a lot of fun seeing downtown make a comeback. So.
New hotels, new places to eat, new breweries, all kinds of stuff going on down here in Jamestown. Another strike for Ryan Beaver.
Rather be lucky than good.
He's providing his own color commentary. We like that. It's been a long day here. We're running out of stuff to say, so Ryan can just keep providing the insight. That's 4 in a row for the Ryan and Ray team as well.
Uh-oh.
So this kind of ends our little Chautauqua and Southern Tier run here, right? From we did Bradford, we've done Fredonia, we did Salamanca down here in Jamestown, right? We're back in our own neck of the woods here for the rest of the summer, aren't we?
So we think.
So we think, yes. A couple of trips to Lockport, at least one that we
That's
know
right.
that we always make, and some Tonawandas and some Amhersts and our usual regular spots. So. But it's good. We like getting out down here, and we've seen great bowling. And what's nice about it, Jim, is that we get a chance to see some of your great bowlers, like Ray Texter and some of the guys like Joe, that we just don't see very often because we know it's hard for them and in their lives to always drive up to try to qualify in Lockport and places, Tonawanda and places like that. So
yeah, it's tough. You got to make the trip to qualify, then the trip. If you don't bowl the day of the finals, you got to make another trip. Then you got to come out and get it for the show. And then a lot of times, the weekends are conflicting with other tournaments and stuff. So
right,
it's hard to squeeze it all in.
Joe's feeling a little bad about that open right now. That missed 10 pin's making a difference in this match.
So Joe's trying to finish things out strong here for the Joe and Jerry squad. And put a little pressure on Ray and Ryan. Yeah, you know what, Jim, that does make me laugh a little bit is we've seen a lot of your bowlers from the Jamestown area have made the trip to Salamanca, they've made it to Bradford, they've made it to Fredonia. Those drives aren't a whole lot more than it was if they just kind of kept running up to Buffalo, but I know there's a little bit of that Southern Tier feel that you want to stick in your home neck of the woods, isn't there?
Oh yeah, I mean, there are a few guys that they don't bowl all of them, but they get up there, hit a few spots down there. But you're right though, and it's like everybody's lives are busy. It's
right.
hard to make them all.
And again, that's what we like about being able to bring the show down here, is to get a chance to see some different faces and find out who some of the great bowlers down in this area are. No, that didn't do what Joe wanted it to do.
Well, that right there just made Ray just have to keep the ball on the lane. There was a count situation that may have been created, but that 6 count there took that away. So
209 is the final score on the board for Joe and Jerry. And nice easy roll and a nice strike
And
for Ray
that's it.
Texter, and that will win it for the Ray and Ryan squad. A little shake of the hands amongst the teammates there. And we've got our championship match all set up. It'll be Brandon and Brent Miller versus Ryan Beaver and Ray Texter. We'll be back to get you ready for the championship match. We'll talk to the other guys, Joe and Jerry. When we return, it is Beat the Champ at the Jamestown Bowling Company's Doubles Championship. More right after this. 249 to 209, the final score as Ryan and Ray defeat Joe and Jerry. Joe, you got your dad here, right? You got to give him a little TV time, don't you?
Absolutely. I only bowl for my family. My dad's here. My mom lost my mom about 6 years ago. I bowl for my father.
Well, that's great, and you did a nice job, and I'm sure he's proud of you. I know you bowled
absolutely.
great early in the show, on the first show, and you bowled great again here today. Jerry, what's the challenge of bowling doubles like this? It's so different than what you normally do. How hard is it to get used to sort of the back and forth of it all?
I don't think it's that tough. I mean, you just have to go up and bowl your lane. That's all you really can think about, and that's all I did. I can't, there's really no challenge to it. It's just you just have to perform on your shot, and that's it. That's all you can do.
Right. Well, both of these guys were on our very first show here in Jamestown, so it's been a long day for them. Jim, come on over here and make these guys feel a little better.
So thanks a lot for entering the doubles. We had kind of low entries, so the prize list isn't too good. But I added some money though to make it better. So. Thank you. It's a little something. Thanks a lot. Guys, come down.
Right.
Hope to see you next year.
And Joe, it's good to have your dad on here, and hopefully we'll see all of these guys again, maybe not just in Jamestown, maybe somewhere else along the line too. We got our championship match. It's coming up next here on Beat the Champ. This is not league night here at the Jamestown Bowling Company. Oh, we saw that. How about that, huh?
Uh-oh.
But a real Jamestown Bowling Company doubles championship between a whole bunch of Jamestown guys. Apparently guys that know each other and like to work each other over a little bit, right, Jim?
Oh yeah, this should be fun.
So our championship match will feature Brandon and Brent Miller versus Ryan Beaver and Ray Texter.
Do all of these guys bowl on Tuesdays in your doubles? The father and son also?
Yes. Actually, Ryan is just a sub on that league.
So obviously these guys know each other real well and enjoy bowling and poking at each other real well also. So we're seeing a little bit of that early on in this match. And that should make it fun.
What ball is that? What is that white ball he's throwing at his spares?
It's the Storm. It's a clear. Well,
Is it a plastic?
yes, plastic.
Okay. I know there's a new white ball. Oh, there, now I can see it come up. There's a new white ball on the market that I see out and about. And I'm like, I wasn't sure if that was it or not.
No, that's a.
Oh, look at the flex. Look at the flex from Ray Texter.
That's a Brunswick ball. The bias, the quantum bias.
That's out now?
Yeah, white.
It's another quantum? Wow.
Another quantum.
Why do I feel like our best bet here may be just to be quiet and let these guys yell and scream at each other and carry the rest of this broadcast, huh?
Oh, I thought that was high for a second.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. I think we're all going to enjoy watching these guys go at it. They've known each other, they bowl against each other, they're friends, and there's a lot of pride on the line, and we know how much that can motivate people to perform at their best. Here is Brent Miller, the father-son duo of the Millers.
He's quite the baby of the group.
Yeah, now they're critiquing the style of each other's strikes at this point. Of course, we mentioned it was a year ago when we were here that we had the first ever father and son match on Beat the Champ, which was Brent defeating his son. Brent defeating his father, Brandon. I keep getting the Millers all mixed up. And that's the first and only time we've had that happen on our show, father versus son.
I remember that happening.
You probably don't bowl against your son anymore because that's just not a wise decision anymore, is it?
Yeah, we don't normally, although we do have a couple match plays in tournaments. I think we're 1-1.
Of course, we've had Jim's son Chad on our show a number of times. A couple of years ago, he's one of the top young bowlers in Western New York. Just happens to be a little too distracted by all that job and college and life stuff going on, right?
Yeah, he is a busy boy now.
So I know now why I do not remember these two, because I took off for that last show to go bowl nationals or our state tournament in Poughkeepsie. So you filled in for me, and that's when the father-son bowled each other.
And there's the spare pickup by Ray. Of course, we saw Ray a couple of weeks ago on our regular competition show, and he did a nice job in defeating Chuck Jagosinski. And as we mentioned, it'll be Tim Friends that we saw earlier on today's show will be our first bowler up next week when we move this traveling road show known as Beat the Champ up to the Tonawanda Bowling Center. So make sure you tune in there to catch Tim and the whole new group of competitors.
Nice shot. He's got a lot of ball speed.
He does. These guys are going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, ball speed and experience.
Somehow, as much as we've been, everybody's been complaining about lane 17, it hasn't seemed to bother Ryan very much so far.
No, he doesn't know. He didn't get the memo.
Yeah. So it's the ultimate pride on the line here between a bunch of guys who all know each other and enjoy each other's company, but whoever wins this match and claims our Jamestown Bowling Company Doubles Championship, I'm sure will hang that over the head of the other two guys for quite a long time, right, Jim?
Do you have a banner set up here somewhere? A banner to
yeah, I'm sure they'll demand it.
Yeah, we might have to after this match.
The action will continue on Beat the Champ in just a minute.
Instant replay on Beat the Champ is brought to you by Transit Lanes and Keglers. Join us for bowling, food, and drinks.
Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
You know what? That's what makes bowling one of the most unique sports, is that how many other sports could you perform just as well lefty or righty, or then throw the mix of using both hands together and be just as good, right? It's pretty unusual about this sport. Not to get you started on the whole two-handers thing there.
No.
Not to scratch a scab there. So we didn't have a lot of two-handers. Only have one this month, or two maybe. Rusty was one of our two-handers last week, but not a lot of two.
No.
You must not.
It was Len Marucci.
Len Marucci. Thank you very much. The wave of two-handed bowling has not made its way down here to Jamestown quite yet, or do you see a lot of the younger kids starting to do it?
We do. We have a young lefty that is pretty good, and he's like 15 or 16, and he's gotten bigger lately. So now he's more impressive because he's gained a lot of power.
Oops. I don't know if that was an oops. I think he meant to do that.
Nearly a strike for Brandon
okay, it was
Miller.
An oops.
There you get your updated Castellone scoreboard.
All right, we got a 10-pin deficit here.
All right, keeping it close.
Yep.
Ray Texter, frame number 7 for the Ray and Ryan team. So Jim, how busy or not busy will the Jamestown Bowling Company be over the next couple summer months? How much do you have some things going on here? How much do you quiet it down?
Bowling-wise, we have summer leagues on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Thursday just started. And it's like I have a ball league where you bowl for the summer, then you get a high-performance bowling ball at the end. That seems pretty popular. And I couldn't believe we had 22 teams Thursday, of 3 on a team.
Wow,
fantastic. And then on Tuesday, we have about 12 to 14. We have an adult junior league. We have like a fun pizza league, and then we have a senior league on Monday. So that's about it for summer leagues. But the restaurant keeps going pretty well, and then we do some open play promotions to try to get people in the door. So.
And if you're down in the area, the Game Time Sports Bar and Grill is a terrific spot, way more than your typical sports bar, at least on the menu side. So we'll pump you up a little bit there. That it's a great menu with a lot of really high quality food, so certainly a good option for people whether you cross through the door into the lanes or not. It's a good choice down here in this area.
That. Thank you.
Yeah,
Don't forget the chicken wing soup, I hear.
Oh, the chicken wing soup. Raven, it's either the prime rib or the chicken wing soup that everybody raves about.
Maybe.
Yep. That's a nice strike for Brent Miller.
Well, they're not going away just yet.
Jamestown Bowling Company Doubles Championship on the line here. Ray Texter, Ryan Beaver, Brent and Brandon Miller. Here's Dad trying to match son's strike, and he gets one of his own.
Great shot.
Who'd we get?
All right, well, that keeps it interesting here.
Why not come down right to the end with another match here at the Jamestown
It's just been the
Bowling
way this
Company?
month
Yes,
has been.
it has. So to recap a little bit over our month-long stay here,
Big shot.
we started off with a couple of wins for Joe Rubricht in our first show, and then Joe matched up against Chuck Jagosinski, and it was Chuck that won the first of his 3 in a row on show number 2, but then it was the gentleman we see right here, Ray Texter, that beat Chuck Jagosinski at the beginning of show number 3, and then Ray was a loser to Tim Friends, who wound up winning the last 2 to advance on to next week's show at the Tonawanda Bowling Center. So that's kind of how our run here in Jamestown went. No one was able to really get on a big-time roll. A couple of 2-match winning streaks with the 1-3 matcher by Chuck Jagosinski, but good competitive bowling here in Jamestown.
Right.
And Jim, that's what you want, right? You want to have it not have one person dominate, have everybody feel like they got a chance to win.
Definitely have some close matches, and it's been a great day.
Well, good. I'm glad you're happy, and we're happy, and I know all our Western New York bowling fans have enjoyed this trip down to Jamestown for the last month. Good strike for Ryan in the 10th frame. So we're coming right down to the end here.
And guess what? It's going to come down to the last few shots.
Of course it will.
Just like these matches have been all day.
So it's all in the hands now of Ryan Beaver. Almost made our regular bowling show. He was our alternate, just in case somebody couldn't make it.
Wow, that was a good shot.
Almost got himself there with a powerful 19-mile-an-hour roll down the lanes. Final one here for Ryan. Gets the spare. And it's a 205 score on the board for the Ray and Ryan squad. So,
okay, so by my
it's up
math,
to the Millers.
The Millers need the first strike. A spare won't be enough.
Just short.
So the Castellone scoreboard tells us this must be a strike from Brent Miller. And it will not be. So it's a win for Ryan Beaver and Ray Texter and the Jamestown Bowling Company Doubles Championship for those two gentlemen. And tough break for Brent Miller. Just could not get the strike that he needed. So we'll come back and we'll talk to all of our guys and wrap up our terrific month-long stay here in Jamestown when Sue and I return to the Jamestown Bowling Company. More Beat the Champ right after this. .205 to 190, the Jamestown Bowling Company Doubles Championship goes to Ryan and Ray over Brent and Brandon. So not only are you going to hear it from these guys, but you're hearing it from Dad there because of that last shot.
Yeah, I was the Iceman, so I was supposed to lock it up, but evidently I got jinxed, so I left that split.
Is that a little revenge for him beating you a year ago?
Oh, no, that was coming from Ray over there.
Well, you guys put on a nice show. It was fun. Could tell you guys all like each other and all enjoy bowling against each other. Jim?
Always good bowling. Good bowling. Sorry, couldn't be a little more cash on this day, but it's not bad, though.
Not bad, though.
You had
That's
fun.
all that matters.
All right, Sue, you get the winners over there.
Fresh legs and experience. So,
Gotta love it.
do you think that helped a little bit, coming in fresh and not having a bowl all day?
I think so. Yeah.
That ball speed really helped out there.
Speed was key on that lane, yes. That lane had to, you keep the speed up, but you still had to hit a board. You know, you didn't have a whole lot out and you didn't have a whole lot in.
No,
So
and 17 looked challenging all day.
it was, yeah. Yep.
And you, with a laundry list of accomplishments, that doesn't hurt you coming into these. You look unflappable.
No, it was fun. Brian's a good friend of mine. It's fun bowling with him, and of course, Brandon and Brent over there, we do tournaments and league stuff all the time together. So it was just fun to razz each other and have a good time.
We had a good time. Yep.
Good. Well, I put in a request for a banner for you guys so you can have this all year long. All right, Jim.
Good bowling. It was fun to watch.
I get the sense it won't be the only time that he says it's been fun to razz you guys. So we'll see how that goes. We'll find out when we're back here next year in Jamestown exactly how this whole year went. Sue and I are going to come back and wrap up our terrific month-long stay here at the Jamestown Bowling Company. More Beat the Champ right after this. In a lot of ways, this last match is what we love about bowling. A bunch of guys who know each other, like each other, and were relentless about razzing on each other.
I know, even the poor son, he got picked on, and then we all know how that went for him. But it was a lot of fun to watch them, and you know, we didn't have to say as much because they took care of all of it.
No, we did not. It was just let's sit back and let these guys carry the show. They were fun to watch, fun to see them bowl, and congratulations to Ray and Ryan on winning a championship. You had the best seat for all of this craziness.
Yeah, I almost thought, you know, the end was going to be a trophy full of like chicken wing soup for the winners, but that's for me for on the road. I'm going to take them
that sounds good. So, all right, so this has been a great month-long stay for us here in Jamestown. We're moving on to Tonawanda for next week's show. Tim Friend's going to pack those crazy colorful pants of his and meet us on up there. So we can't wait to see Tim and a whole new group of challengers for another month and another week of Beat the Champ. Good night, everybody.